Good morning. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Welcome to the October 23rd, 2024 Public Safety and Justice Subcommittee. I'd like to introduce our City Attorney, Jennifer Vega. Please explain the role of public comment.
Good morning. During citizen comment, members of the public may address the subcommittee for up to 3 minutes on issues of interest or concern to them. The Arizona Open Meetings Law permits the subcommittee members to listen to the comments, but prohibits members from discussing or acting on the matters presented. Members of the public may speak for up to 2 minutes to comment on agenda items to be discussed. Comments must be related to the agenda item and the action being considered by the subcommittee. The City Council and staff cannot discuss or comment on matters related to pending investigations, claims, or litigation.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. I would also like to introduce our interpreter, Elsie Duarte, who will provide a brief announcement. Elsie?
Mr. Chairman, good morning, everyone. My name is Elsie Duarte. I will be servicing as Spanish interpreter for today's Public Safety and Justice Subcommittee session. I will now take a moment to introduce myself to our Spanish-speaking audience and review some guidelines. Buenos días, bienvenidos a la sesión de la Subcomisión de Seguridad Pública y Justicia. Mi nombre es Elsie Duarte y estaré sirviéndoles hoy como intérprete a nuestra audiencia de habla hispana. Deseamos pedirles antemano si va a dar un comentario público, favor de hablar despacio, con claridad y evite tener distracciones de fondo. Finalmente, pause después de cada una o dos oraciones para poder interpretar lo que esté diciendo de la manera más completa posible. Gracias. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Elsie, thank you. Normally I would start the subcommittee meeting with a call to the public, but I'm going to hold that until the very end and just get into the issues simply because we're tight with schedules today, and there is a chance after a short amount of time we will lose our quorum. So I want to be aware of that. So we will go to the first item. That's the approval of minutes. Item number 1 is approval of the PSJ minutes from June 5th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Okay, I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much for that. Item number 2, recommended changes. We'll start with our consent agenda item. Number 2, it's recommended changes to the 2025 Neighborhood Block Watch Program and application guide and process. And we have one speaker there. Is Mr. Dombeck? Are you on? He is not on? Okay. That's the case. Do I have a motion for item number 1? Rather, item number 2?
Motion to approve item number 2.
I couldn't hear. I'm sorry, Councilwoman, I couldn't hear you.
Motion to approve.
Oh, we have a motion. Thank you. Is there a second? Councilman Waring, are you in a position to make a second on the motion?
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Chair votes aye. The motion carries. Thank you very much. Now, item number 3 is an update on our community safety plans, and we'll welcome to the table Assistant Police Chief Sean Kennedy, Special Project Administrator Nick Valenzuela, Neighborhood Services Director Spencer Self, Office of Homeless Solutions Director Rachel Milne, and Assistant City Prosecutor Sarah DeJong, and to the table, and we'll receive an update on the community safety plans and the Real-Time Operations Center.
Thank you, Chairman Robinson, members of the subcommittee. Before we begin our presentation this morning, I'd like to acknowledge just a few groups of individuals. First, I want to thank our community committee members for their support and ongoing feedback of these community safety plans. They continue to meet monthly with the staff, and their support of the plans has greatly assisted us. I also want to thank all of our department staff from our departments represented here today for their hard work and dedication to implementing these plans. And finally, I want to thank our precinct police analysts, resource lieutenants, and partners at our Homeland Defense Bureau for their commitment to what will be our biggest update today, which is the fully operational real-time operations centers. They have been instrumental in the early successes of these programs. So to quickly provide a background, the community safety plans were approved in early 2022 for our 27th Avenue and Hatcher plans. Later that year, through the budget adoption, the 19th Avenue Community Safety Plan was funded. The community safety plans are a multi-department approach to holistically address safety and quality of life issues in the focus areas. And as mentioned, community committees for each focus area were established to provide staff with ongoing feedback throughout the implementation of the plans. We'll be providing updates today within our 4 strategy areas, which, as a reminder, are crime detection and response, education and prevention, safety of public spaces, and access to services. And quickly remind our audience of the focus areas for our community safety plans. Pictured is the 27th Avenue and 19th Avenue community safety plans running along the I-17 corridor from 35th to 15th Avenue. For our 27th Avenue plan, that runs from Indian School Road to the Metro Center footprint, and our 19th Avenue plan runs from Campbell Avenue to the Arizona Canal on the 19th Avenue side. Our Hatcher plan runs from 7th Avenue to 19th Avenue along Hatcher Road, and our Bell Road Community Safety Plan covers 35th Avenue to 15th Avenue along Bell Road. I will now pass the presentation over to Assistant Police Chief Sean Kennedy, followed by Chief Assistant City Prosecutor Sarah DeYoung to provide updates on the crime detection and response strategy.
Our real-time operations centers came online in spring of this year. Cactus Park Precinct was the first precinct to come fully online, followed by Desert Horizon Precinct. The blend of technology from the Firefly gunshot detection systems to the license plate readers and our point, tilt, zoom cameras has served as a force multiplier to proactively address crime, aid investigations, locate suspects at the time of crime, as well as aid in follow-up to identify crime offenders. We are in the early stages of utilizing this technology, but you can see from the numbers that it has been a major benefit in our crime suppression efforts and has had an impact in each of the community safety plan areas. The police department has utilized a collaborative effort of our investigative details and patrol resources to impact each community safety plan area. Each of these areas are unique in terms of crime-related issues faced, and the appropriate resources are being utilized to have the greatest impact. These include undercover and plainclothes units, bike teams, investigations, and precinct specialty units. Precinct resource teams and community action officers continue to collaborate with residences and businesses in the area to provide strategies to improve safety and reduce crime. It is through this holistic approach between the community and the partners at the table that will have the greatest impact on long-standing and continued improvement in each of these areas. Next, Sarah DeYoung will provide an update on the impact of community prosecution.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman and other subcommittee members. The prosecutor's office has several responsibilities as part of the CSP. We handle, first and foremost, any misdemeanor cases that arise in the CSP, and we utilize tools like advocating for release conditions and bond where appropriate, imposition of travel restrictions, and advocating for probationary terms to both address offender behavior and to address community concerns. Additionally, our office is strengthening communication and collaboration with the county attorney's office to streamline felony referrals and to communicate regarding individuals who may have charges in both jurisdictions. Of note, ongoing collaboration with the county attorney's office resulted in a priority shoplift offender having referrals for felony prosecution, which ensures appropriate accountability for offender behavior, particularly for those repeat offenders whose criminal activity has a tangible impact upon the community. Our community prosecutors continue to engage with our partner agencies and use a coordinated approach to address issues at the top 5 properties in each CSP area. Further, representatives of our office attend regular coordinated meetings with business alliances and block watch organizations to discuss and problem solve issues in each affected area. We also work with law enforcement, other city departments, and the community to provide resources and education. As part of this strategy, the prosecutor's office continues to provide trainings to partner agencies regarding enforcement, provide community presentations regarding crime prevention strategies, supply information regarding the city prosecutor's scope of authority, and perhaps most importantly, ensure that community members have the information and education regarding how to exercise their rights as potential victims in court proceedings. It's also important to note that there's proactive engagement with the police department's HEAT unit regarding prostitution-related activity in the 27th Avenue corridor. Looking at data from January 1st through July 15th, our office received approximately 250 prostitution-related citations, and I'd like to note that 25% of those entered into a diversion program, which addresses one of the CSP objectives of providing justice-involved individuals with services as part of potential sentencing. We work with community organizations to author impact statements that may be provided to the court to highlight how prostitution and its ancillary effects negatively impact the community as a whole. Additionally, we have worked with the police department to gain access to the court's case management system so PPD staff can have real-time access to information such as release conditions and travel restrictions. In summary, our office looks forward to continuing to provide education, to partner on crime prevention, and to support the enforcement efforts in the CSP to make our community safer. Up next is Spencer Self, Director of Neighborhood Services.
Thank you, Sarah. The education and prevention strategy focuses on proactively addressing community concerns by providing information on resources and services and working with the community to identify solutions and inform the service approach. With City Council support of the Gated Alley program, we have been working closely with the community to identify potential alleys within the CSPs and providing technical assistance. To date, 64 alley segments have been gated with 28 more under construction. We also continue to provide focused community education on the Graffiti Busters program and reporting tools to empower neighborhood leaders and residents to quickly report graffiti. So far, we have closed well over 3,900 graffiti cases in the CSP focus areas. However, since we remove most graffiti in this area proactively, we developed graffiti heat maps along the corridor arterials to address it as soon as possible to discourage recidivism. And now I'll pass it over to Nick.
Thanks, Spencer. This past June, in partnership with Arizona State University, the city launched a new online crime prevention webpage to help local property owners better protect their properties from criminal elements. The Online Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design, or SEPTED guide, offers businesses and property owners practical advice and strategies to effectively secure their properties. The new webpage provides users the opportunity to select their business type and review specific crime prevention recommendations for their businesses. The webpage is a user-friendly guide that can be used on-site as police conduct SEPTED education opportunities. And I want to publicly thank Dr. Michael Scott and ASU graduate Chase Smith for their work on this community resource. Through June, the Cactus Park and Desert Horizon precincts have provided 56 SEPTED educations and have secured or renewed 919 ATAs along the CSP corridors. And to provide additional crime prevention and improve safety in the area, the Street Transportation Department installed 17 new streetlights along 27th Avenue from Bethany Home Road to Maryland Avenue. 60 additional streetlights were repaired along 27th Avenue earlier this year. And through feedback from our 27th Avenue Community Committee, we have identified additional segments in need of streetlight repairs and are working with the Street Transportation Department to repair those lights. I will turn it back to Spencer.
Thank you, Nick. In order to address safety of public spaces, we work with a variety of partners to identify proactive solutions. This includes meeting regularly to discuss and identify solutions for areas along corridors such as the under and overpasses, bus stops, and alleys. We continue interagency outreach to address quality of life issues and encampments on the I-17 under and overpasses along the corridors. These outreach operations bring together the departments at the table today, as well as street transportation, CBI, and ADOT. Our neighborhood specialists continue to work closely with the city council offices, neighborhoods, and businesses to coordinate community cleanups and celebrations within the focus areas, multiple of which are taking place during this month, including Game Day, which was just this past Saturday. Our team also engages with community on initiatives such as the 27th Avenue Midtown Public Safety Collaboration, 19 North, Bell Road Business Alliance, the Hatcher Urban Business Alliance, Thrive Phoenix, and the new 27 collab with GCU to address quality of life concerns. Finally, we continue to conduct proactive arterial reviews to address common blight issues, opening more than 1,300 blight cases and 47 vacant property registry cases just through August alone. I'll now pass the presentation over to Rachel to discuss access to services.
Thank you, Spencer. In addition to the collaborative work that Spencer just discussed, OHS has been active in all of the CSP areas. The focus of OHS in these areas is to connect people with services most appropriate to help them end their homelessness. OHS is providing ongoing outreach, proactive outreach in several parks in the CSP areas, including Washington, Solano, Homestead, and Cortez parks. We call hotspots those areas that we proactively go out to do outreach on a continuous, regular basis, knowing that we have reports of people in these areas frequently. We maintain a list of hotspots in the CSP areas that we outreach on a regular basis, which includes 19th Avenue in Glendale, Bell Road from I-17 to 15th Avenue, and along Hatcher Road. We've done a lot of work in Hatcher Road this year. In February, the city worked closely with St. Vincent de Paul to assist them as they phased out their Sunny Slope dining room off of Hatcher Road, which had been requested by the neighbors for several years. St. Vincent de Paul made the decision to change its service model and stop food service at the dining hall and focus their efforts on homeless services that provide comprehensive and holistic interventions. In the months leading up to the dining hall closure, OHS worked with St. Vincent de Paul to provide outreach, shelter, and services to individuals who frequented the dining hall. The team placed 252 people from that neighborhood into shelter and other services, and this has made a significant impact in the community. St. Vincent de Paul is continuing its mission to provide nourishment to individuals in need and is the food service provider for many of the new shelters that were created recently or are opening later this year and next year. Neighborhood Services Department had previously provided weekly private property cleanings along Hatcher Road, but given the drastic changes in that area, these are continuing on an as-needed basis only. OHS is partnering to open 2 important facilities in the area that will add capacity to our shelter system as a whole and provide needed indoor services to people experiencing homelessness in the CSP areas. Community Bridges North Mountain Healing Center opened phase 1 of their shelter on September 11th. During phase 1, CBI will serve 40 individuals experiencing homelessness with shelter, case management, behavioral health, and physical health needs each night. Clients of the North Mountain Healing Center will be from the area surrounding the shelter, which includes both the 19th Ave and Hatcher Road CSP areas. Additionally, the Cass Haven project is scheduled to open this calendar year, which will provide 170 beds to individuals 55 and over transitioning out of homelessness. The city purchased the former Super 8 on the northwest corner of Northern and the I-17 in 2023 and is in the process of converting that space into 126 apartment units with on-site supportive service for people over the age of 55. In an effort to bring healthcare agencies together within the CSP boundaries, the Offices of Public Health and Homeless Solutions together coordinated and facilitated 3 community health agency roundtable events this year. The kickoff meeting was in March, where the group met at Adelante Healthcare's Metro Center location to explain what the CSP is, how it impacts these agencies, and participants talked at length about the system gaps and referral process. In May, GCU hosted the group, and topics of discussion were the 24/7 crisis services offered through La Frontera Impact and the CAP program. The group most recently met in July at GCU and heard a presentation from Spectrum Health. Future roundtables are being supplemented by ongoing meetings GCU is hosting on its campus. And I will now turn this presentation back over to Nick to discuss outcome measures.
Thank you, Rachel. Chairman Robinson, members of the subcommittee, the city is collaborating with the ASU to study police crime incident data within the CSP area's pre- and post-intervention. The outcome measures for the RTOCs and other community safety plan interventions were established with feedback from the community committees and the results of a perceptions of safety survey conducted last summer. The police crime incident data being reviewed may be broken down into 2 macro-level categories of crime: consensual and non-consensual. These are also referred to as victim and victimless crime. Within those categories, we have calculated outcome measures for specific crime incidents. For consensual crimes, those include drug incidents, such as use and sales, as well as prostitution. And for non-consensual crimes, we are reviewing assaults, aggravated assaults, thefts, including shoplifting and auto theft, as well as trespassing. We've worked with ASU to analyze the first 6 months of 2024 crime incident data. In the following slides, we'll provide a summary of the consensual and non-consensual crime incidents for each focus area. We are focusing on the comparison of the crime incidents at this larger macro level, as it is too early to compare individual crime incidents with only 6 months of data. Due to the unique nature of police operations, individual crime incidents such as theft and prostitution can fluctuate based on the time of year and operations. The following graphs will illustrate the first 6 months of 2024 compared to the first 6 months of 2023. Additionally, we'll compare the average of the first 6 months of our pre-intervention years, which is 2018 through 2021, to the first 6 months of 2024. With the RTOCs fully built out in February and April, the initial 2024 crime incident data provides a very early assessment of the impacts of the RTOCs. So we'll start with our 27th Avenue Community Safety Plan, which is our largest focus area. For data purposes, this area is broken out into two subsections, our Midtown and our North. Our Midtown area runs from Indian School Road to Northern, and this area was the first one with the real-time operations center implemented. For our non-consensual incidents compared to 2023, we see a 6% reduction. For our consensual incidents compared to 2023, we see a 30% reduction. Comparing it to the average of the first 6 months for our pre-intervention years, we see that our non-consensual incidents are well below the 6-month average of the pre-intervention years, and our consensual incidents are above the 6-month average for those pre-intervention years. For our North focus area, for our non-consensual incidents, we are seeing a 7% increase compared to the first 6 months of 2023. And for our consensual incidents, we see a 20% reduction compared to the first 6 months of 2023. Comparing it to the average of the first 6 months for pre-intervention years, our non-consensual incidents are below the 6-month average, and our consensual incidents, even though it's hard to tell, are also below that 6-month average. Our 19th Avenue Community Safety Plan started in March of 2023, and their RTOC has been live since April. For our non-consensual incidents, we are seeing a 3% increase compared to the first 6 months. And for our consensual incidents, we are seeing a 4% reduction compared to the first 6 months of 2023. Comparing it to the average of the first 6 months for the pre-intervention years, our non-consensual incidents are below the 6-month average, and our consensual incidents are above the 6-month average. Our Hatcher Road Community Safety Plan also started in 2022 alongside 27th Avenue, but this data also represents 4 months post-closure of the dining hall that Rachel discussed earlier. For our non-consensual incidents, we are seeing a 33% reduction compared to the first 6 months of 2023, and for our consensual incidents, a 24% reduction compared to the 6 months of 2023. Comparing it to the average of the 6 months for the pre-intervention years, we are below the 6-month average for those pre-intervention years. For the consensual incidents, we are also below the 6-month average for those pre-intervention years. Finally, our Bell Road Community Safety Plan is a little bit unique in that the west area of Bell Road had the RTOC coverage since February, while the east side received coverage in April through the Desert Horizon RTOC. For our non-consensual incidents, we are seeing a 14% increase compared to 2023. For our consensual incidents, we're seeing a 35% increase compared to 2023. Comparing it to the 6-month average of the pre-intervention years, we are well below the 6-month average for the pre-intervention years for the non-consensual, and for our consensual crimes, we are also below that 6-month average. So to best summarize the crime incident data for the first 6 months of 2024, what we're seeing through all of our community safety plan areas that our non-consensual crimes are trending down compared to those pre-intervention years of the 6-month average, and our consensual crimes are down compared to 2023. However, the big caveat with this data so far is that the further the technology is used and refined and integrated into our police operations, we may start to see increases in the non-consensual and the consensual crimes as we're seeing new crimes and catching new crimes. Additionally, our smaller community safety plan areas, such as the Bell Road and Hatcher plans, are seeing a little bit greater success. Those areas had much smaller footprints compared to our 19th and 27th Avenue plans, and those issues were more tailored for staff to address. In addition to the crime incident data, we are measuring our community's perceptions of safety to provide a qualitative measure for desired outcome measures. An initial perceptions of safety survey was sent out in June of 2023 and provided staff with baseline data for the following outcome measures: overall safety, level of crime, encampments identified as an issue, encampments affecting perceptions of safety, visible drug use, blight, and graffiti identified as issues. That survey was sent out again this past June and July to measure the community perceptions 1 year later. And the following slides will provide a summary of the main takeaways for each community safety plan's survey results. For our 27th Avenue corridor, we asked the first question is overall, how safe do you feel in your neighborhood? We are looking for an increase in individuals responding very safe or somewhat safe. We are comparable to 2023 with 37% responding with some form of safety compared to 34% in 2023. The next question we asked is, in the past 12 months, would you say crime in your neighborhood has increased, decreased, or stayed the same? We again are looking for an increase in individuals responding that crime decreased. We are comparable to 2023 with only 8% responding that crime decreased in 2023 and 2024. Other summaries for 27th Avenue: issues that are remaining a concern along that corridor are homelessness and open drug use. However, we did see a reduction in blight identified as an issue along 27th Avenue. And additionally, we did see some change in our prostitution. So in 2023, prostitution was identified as a top 5 issue affecting individuals' feelings of safety. That is no longer the case in 2024. That has dropped out of the top 5 issues. However, we continue to get ongoing feedback from our community committee that the issue remains prevalent in the area. We've used that feedback to communicate with our police department and our heat operations to monitor the issue as it moves across the corridor. And since the closing of the Royal Inn, we have seen a little bit more of an improved perception from our community residents on the prostitution issue. For our 19th Avenue Community Safety Plan, we are again comparable to 2023. We have a 32% response in 2024 in individuals responding safe or somewhat safe, compared to 40% in 2023. And in the past 12 months, we see that 13% responded that crime decreased, compared to 6% in 2023. Issues remaining a concern for 19th Avenue include homelessness, open drug use, and blight. And a new issue that popped up this year, the issue that is affecting their feelings of safety the most, is loitering. That was not the top feeling in 2023, so that is a new issue that popped up for this survey. Along our Hatcher Road plan, we see a little bit of an improvement along Hatcher Road. So 39% are responding in some form of safety, compared to only 28% last year. For levels of safety, we see that 42% responded that crime decreased, compared to only 8% in 2023. Issues remaining a concern along Hatcher Road is some open drinking and drug use, but we also saw reductions in homeless encampments identified as an issue, and homeless encampments affecting the perceptions of safety. We saw reductions in both those categories. And finally, our Bell Road Community Safety Plan. Again, we're looking for an increase in individuals responding very safe or somewhat safe. 56% responded in 2024 that they were safe, compared to 25% in 2023. An increase in individuals responding that crime decreased on Bell Road is 8% in 2024, compared to 9% in 2023. Issues remaining a concern at Bell Road include homelessness at the underpass, which is an issue that we are well connected with the community committee in that focus area and responding to throughout the year. We also saw reductions in open drug use, blight, and graffiti, all identified as issues along Bell Road. We'll send out this survey again in June of 2025 to provide 1 year of complete RTOC implementations and the effect on the perceptions of safety within those community safety plan focus areas. And with that, Chairman, members of the subcommittee, this concludes our presentation. We'd be happy to take any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Let me check with my colleagues. Does anyone have any questions for this group reference their presentation?
No, I don't have any questions. I just have comments.
Certainly, go ahead, Councilwoman.
Thank you. Well, I just want to thank you all for all of your hard work. These numbers are very promising. I know that these are issues and challenges that a lot of my constituents have been dealing with for a very, very long time. And kudos to Jeff Spellman and all of the neighborhood leaders, 19 North, Shannon McBride, Pam Fitzgerald, all of the different neighborhood leaders that were part of making this happen and for pushing for these programs to happen. Talking specifically 27th Avenue and 19th Avenue between Camelback and Northern. I just want to thank all of those neighborhood leaders. I want to thank all of you that are sitting there right now for all of your hard work. Since the opening of the real-time operation centers, we knew that this would be key, and I just cannot thank you guys enough for your commitment and for all of your hard work and everything that you guys are doing to make our community safer. And, this is a huge example of when city resources and our police department and our community come together. We see these real changes. Lori, not sure if you're there, but thank you also so much for all of your hard work, and for our city managers, Jeff Barden as well. Just want to thank everyone for all of the efforts and everything that's getting done in these communities. I'm just very thankful, and thank you guys so much for this amazing report.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Any other comments from my colleagues?
Chair, this is Councilwoman O'Brien.
Certainly, Councilwoman, go ahead.
I'll keep it short and sweet, but I'd like to reiterate all the gratefulness to staff as well as our community leaders for making an improvement in some neighborhoods that really needed a lot of help. So I know you all have worked hard to get up the real-time operation centers as well as shelters for folks who need help and want to get off the streets, and city leaders. So again, thank you. I am committed to doing what I can to make sure that these resources are available in other parts of the city as we continue to see them prove that these tools are necessary for not only our police department, but our Office of Homeless Solutions, neighborhood services. This kind of work is making a real impact on our families and our neighborhoods. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And I'll add my 2 cents with regard to thanking each and every one of you. The hard work obviously it's coming through, it's working. And I don't know that we can thank you enough for all of your hard work. And Nick, I know you recognized ASU, but I want to do it again. Dr. Scott and folks that are here, appreciate that relationship and that partnership with ASU. It adds in all seriousness, a great deal of credibility to our work. And we thank you for your efforts. We thank you for your help with that. So if there aren't any other questions, Rachel, Spencer, Sarah, Sean, and Nick, thank you very much. Really appreciate your presentation. Thank you. Next, we'll move to item number 4, and we'll welcome Assistant Fire Chief Ray Ochoa and CAP Program Administrator DC Ernst to the table.
Good morning, Chair Robinson and council members, council members. I appreciate being here today to give you an update on the Community Assistance Program. Today I'll be talking about our staffing, a new job family that council approved earlier this year, our training updates on our responses, both the crisis response and behavioral health, as well as the calls transferred from police communications, and then what our next steps are. As you may recall, in 2021-2022 fiscal year, City Council and Mayor approved $15 million to expand the Community Assistance Program. That created 130 new positions for our department. As of this report, we have filled 65% of those positions, and our next 2 slides will actually break that down a little bit further. Of our full-time positions, we have filled 68% of our full-time specialists, supervisors, coordinators positions that were created with that $15 million. As we continue to hire, we'll be focusing on filling the 31 open full-time positions. For our part-time positions, we're at 52% of hiring, and we will continue to hire for these positions. Again, we'll focus on these after we fill our full-time positions. Earlier this year, CAP and the City Human Resources Division met to discuss CAP's hiring needs. City HR personnel inquired about the role of the crisis responders and supervisors and identified job functions and staffing differences in comparison to other city departments, which utilized caseworker 2s and caseworker 3s. HR recommended creating a new job family. Caseworker 3 employees were converted and are now being hired as crisis intervention supervisors, and caseworker 2 employees were converted to, and we are now hiring as crisis intervention specialists. This change was approved by Mayor and Council in June of 2024, and it took effect in July. This slide represents the multiple positions that we do have in the Community Assistance Program. The first 6, I'd say, are all completely hired. The program administrator, all of our coordinator positions are completed for our caseworker service coordinator. Our curriculum training coordinator position has been filled, management assistant 2, and our user tech specialist. We are continuing to hire for the supervisor positions and the specialist positions. Recruitment for our supervisors positions took place about a month ago. Through that process, we actually have 4 candidates currently in the background process. For our specialists, that recruitment just ended last week, and there are 104 applicants that we're currently reviewing their resumes, and we will be scheduling them for interviews on November 13th. In collaboration with the Workforce Development, CAP will be hosting a hiring event on November 13th. Individuals who applied for the specialist position, as I just said, will be moved to that date to be interviewed. Another recruitment for supervisor positions is actually scheduled to open this Friday and will close on November 4th. We will review those applicants as well and schedule those individuals for interviews on November 13th. In addition to those who we pre-schedule, we will have the ability to interview individuals who walk in that day. Workforce Development will be on site to assist individuals who do not have a resume in creating a resume and applying for the position, and interviews will be held that same day. I'm also pleased to announce that Workforce Development is working closely with our contracted agencies for peer support specialists. That would be La Frontera Impact and Teros Health, to ensure that these agencies are on site and also able to recruit for peer support specialists for our behavioral health units. The event will be taking place at Burton Bar Library on the 2nd floor, and we will be advertising that in the coming days. We continue to obviously use our peer support specialists on our behavioral health teams. We've hired 7 social work interns for this fall, and they've completed their onboarding and are now actively out in the field working with our specialists. We currently have 8 volunteers and are continuing to recruit for volunteers. Our last interest meeting was held in July. We had 12 people attend, and 6 people have requested ride-alongs, and we'll continue on with the onboarding process. For trainings, we did, like I said, hire for the curriculum coordinator position. Tracy Akins is now overseeing our training, and in the past 6 months that she's been with our program, she has overhauled our onboarding training. The onboarding training now consists of 2 weeks of classroom training, a minimum of 2 weeks training on a CR or BHU team, as well as online trainings. In mid-July and through early August, we were able to participate in the Phoenix Fire Department's citywide training of firefighters. CAP members presented to over 1,000 firefighters. The training included information on the number of units available, the types of calls crisis and behavioral health teams can assist on. The training also provided information on how to request a unit and how to refer individuals to us who may need short-term case management or follow-up. We're currently analyzing the information from that training, calls before and calls after, to determine the impact of that training. We continue to look for ways to better serve our community, and we have developed a quality assurance process, which includes members from PD Communications, Fire Dispatch, and CAP coordinators. Any member of the team may bring a call to the group to evaluate how the process went and look for ways to improve responses. This allows us to share the outcomes on calls with both PD Communication and Fire Department Dispatch, which is often information that they don't get. Currently, with the staffing that we have 5 behavioral health units staffed 7 days a week with 20-hour coverage those 7 days. Our goal is to have 9 units, so we're currently at 55%. We currently have 6 crisis response units staffed 5 days a week for 24 hours and 2 days a week for 22 hours. Our goal is to have 10 units, and again, that puts us at 60% of our target. This slide represents the areas of Phoenix where our units are currently at, as well as future locations that we will be able to move into once new fire stations are built. We're anticipating Fire Station 62 will be coming on board later this year. For calls of service for our crisis response teams, again, the information that we see on this slide is that we continue to see an increase in the call volume compared to last year. The first 9 months, we have seen an 18% increase when we compare the first 9 months from 2023 to 2024. This slide again represents where our behavioral health units are at, as well as where our future locations are at. We're currently working very closely with Cityscape and hope to get that location up and running before the end of the year. And again, we're hoping to get 62 up and running before the end of the year. Part of the collaboration that we've had with the police department, this says it started on July 1, 2024, is specific to adding a supervisor in the PD communication room 3 days a week for 8 hours a day. We did that in order to have someone present for the dispatchers to talk to if they had questions about what calls to send to us, as well as our dispatchers able to look at calls and then recommend CR or crisis response teams. We are taking the lessons learned and we'll be developing trainings that will be hosted on Phoenix.gov, as well as we are currently working to extend those hours that we have one of our supervisors in that room. We actually have been collaborating with PD Communications since we've got the funding, though, just to be clear. So calls transferred from police have continued to grow up. In fact, September was our highest call transfers. And again, if you compare the first 9 months of 2023 to 2024, there's been an increase of 227% more calls being transferred from PD to a BHU. The transferred calls, again, only represent a portion of what our BHU teams do. So on this slide, you'll actually see the total number of calls that our BHU teams responded to every month. And again, we continue to see an increase in calls with a total call trending at 164% increase comparing the first 9 months. So we are working on continuing to hire. We currently are working with Workforce Development to hold a hiring event on November 13th, as I mentioned. We hope that with this increase, we'll stabilize our current units, but also be able to hire more individuals to increase our response units. With the work that we're doing with PD and having our supervisors in their room, we're hoping that that will increase the number of calls that police is able to transfer to us. We are always looking at other ways and other types of calls that can come to us. And as a program, because we're growing pretty quickly, we are also always looking to do team building. And during the Olympics, we actually held our own Olympics, and these pictures show several of our employees who won gold, silver, and bronze medals based on their Olympic findings. And with that, I will take any questions.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll go to my colleagues to check and see if there's any questions there, either Councilwoman O'Brien or Councilwoman Guardado.
Kevin, I do have questions about the call volume slide.
Go ahead, Councilwoman O'Brien.
Thank you. DC, you on that slide, you said we're going up by about 18%. Now, is that because there are actually more calls, or because we have trained our folks and we know which calls to send to your units?
Chair, Councilwoman, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think it's a combination of the training that we did for the fire department, as well as we do have 6 units staffed, which has also helped us increase the total number of calls that we're able to respond to.
Okay, so this is that you're able to, I apologize, this is you're able to respond to calls.
Correct.
Okay. Do we know or track how many calls that we might have transferred to you all if there was availability?
Councilwoman and Chair, I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
I guess I'm curious if we are tracking or capturing the number of calls that we're not able to answer because we don't have enough units, or does that make sense?
It does. Thank you, Councilwoman, Chair, and council members. We do have a way of tracking that. We're trying to figure out a more efficient way of tracking that. And just to clarify on this particular slide, this is referring to the CRU units and not the behavioral health units.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Councilwoman Guardano? Okay, that being
No,
the case.
thank you. And thanks everyone for all of your work.
Okay, thank you very much for that. DC, I had one real quick question, and it dealt with the recruitment, and it's more bewilderment on my part. It's a good thing. 104 applicants for the specialist position. And are you going to interview all 104? Or are you going to break it down? I was just curious.
We are going to break it down.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. No, I was going to say, when you have that big of an interest in the program, clearly it's trending in the right direction. You guys are to be congratulated on all your hard work and what it's going to do for the department and for the city and everything. So thank you for that. If there aren't any other questions, DC and Chief Ochoa, thank you very much for your presentation this morning. So next we'll move to item number 5, an important update on the Phoenix Police Department's school safety efforts. And we'll welcome to the table Commander William Zhao Commander Zhao. I saw other people standing up. I didn't know if someone was going to make a backup, but who knows? Okay.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the subcommittee. First off, I wanted to thank the Arizona Department of Education and the individual school districts again for another good kickoff for the school year and welcoming our SROs and SSOs back into the schools. So today we'll be reviewing our current staffing changes, school safety plans, school crimes and investigations, and other aspects of the school's resource officer and school safety officer programs. The Phoenix Police Department is committed to ensuring school safety through the deployment of school resource officers, SROs, and school safety officers, SSOs. The school safety program is based on a 3-year cycle. The beginning of that cycle was the 2023-2024 school year, and at the beginning of the cycle, the Arizona Department of Education provided a list of awardees of the school safety program grants, which provided for SROs. There were 107 schools, public and charter schools, that were awarded the SSP grants. The Phoenix Police Department was able to fill 77 of those 107 positions in school year 2023 and 2024, and 80 of those positions for the 2024-2025 school year. That left 27 grant awardees that the department could not fill at the time with SROs. To bridge that gap, many schools utilized the school safety officers, or SSOs. And the Arizona Department of Education does allow schools certain grants that did not receive the SROs to convert their grant funding to pay for SSOs. SSOs currently cover 55 schools, with the largest deployment of SSOs in the Cartwright Elementary District with 14 schools, followed by the Phoenix Union High School District with 12 schools, and both Deer Valley Unified and Levine Elementary School Districts have 3 schools each. Next, I wanted to speak about staffing and hours worked by the SROs. This year, after careful consideration and conversation with the Arizona Department of Education and the school districts, the police department made a change to the hours SROs work at the schools. As you know, Chairman, uniform patrol personnel in the Phoenix Police Department work 4 10-hour shifts. However, this schedule does not provide maximum coverage and security at schools. While we cannot predict when an incident might occur where an officer is needed at a school, Routinely having a day without an officer on campus could be the very day when their intervention is most needed. To address this, the department has begun notifying school districts that SROs are directed by the department to work 8-hour shifts 5 days a week. Having officers on campus 5 days a week ensures continuous monitoring and quick response to any incidents that may arise. The presence of officers acts as a deterrent to potential threats and provides a sense of security for students, staffs, and parents. And it's crucial that this sense of security is maintained throughout the entire school week without any gaps. In addition, the consistency of a 5-day schedule allows officers to build stronger relationships with students and staff. These relationships are vital in creating a safe and supportive school environment. Officers who are present every day can better understand the unique dynamics of their particular school community and can effectively identify and address potential issues before they escalate. Although the department notified schools of this change, Chief Sullivan recognizes that each school has varying needs, and therefore individual schools and districts have the freedom to work with their SROs to determine the best scheduled hours and work days to maximize their coverage. In addition to their teaching responsibilities, SROs frequently assist school districts with the development of school safety plans designed to prepare for large-scale critical incidents. While the Phoenix Police Department and its SROs may aid in the formulation of these plans, it's important to note that such plans are not mandated by the city or its police department. School safety plans are regulated rather by the Arizona Department of Education. Each SRO participates in the School Safety Assessment and Prevention Team, the SSAPT, meeting quarterly to discuss safety strategies and report back to their supervising sergeant. Certain SROs exceed standard expectations by collaborating with the Homeland Defense Bureau, which conducts threat assessments and identifies security vulnerabilities within the schools. The Homeland Defense Bureau also works in conjunction with the Assaults Unit within the Violent Crimes Bureau and school crimes detectives to monitor social media for potential threats, proactively identifying and addressing risks. And to support their safety plans, this year the department standardized SRO and SSO training to familiarize SROs and SSOs with the investigation of school-related crime, as well as refresh school safety and security skills. The training included topics like tactical training, specialized interview techniques, and report writing. Going forward, these trainings will be offered at a regular interval to ensure all SSOs and SROs are kept up to date. One of the benefits of having SROs or SSOs on campus is to deter violence on campus. However, there are times when they will be needed to initiate investigations. Unfortunately, over the past several years, school threats have become a common occurrence through social media posts. For many parents and teachers, these posts and social media can cause fear, anxiety, and questions about the safety of their school campuses. So over the next few slides, we'll discuss how the department investigates these crimes and what we as a community of parents, educators, and law enforcement can do to help prevent these crimes. First and foremost, the police department treats all threats of violence against the school as credible until proven otherwise. All successful investigations start with the initial investigation and report from the responding officer and or SROs, SSOs, and for witnesses like students, parents, and teachers to report suspicious posts. When a social media post or threat is identified or reported, the investigations team made up of the Homeland Defense Bureau and the Violent Crimes Bureau are immediately notified. In addition, the patrol precinct and the affected schools are notified. If the threats are discovered outside of business hours, the school's emergency contacts are called to make sure they are made aware of a potential threat to the school so that together with the police, they can determine if they want to cancel school for the following day. Extra patrol officers are also then diverted to the area by the precinct, and if the threat occurs during school hours, patrol officers can assist with the lockdown or evacuation if necessary. The Homeland Defense Bureau's primary role in a school threat investigation is to verify the credibility of the threat. Through many investigative techniques and social media research, detectives can conduct a full threat assessment. And upon identifying a threat as credible, information is communicated to partner investigators in the Violent Crime Bureau and community engagement. The information is also shared with the schools and patrol officers in the precinct to be on alert. Detectives and the Homeland Defense detectives coordinate with the SROs and SSOs at the affected schools, allowing for real-time responses. And for schools without SROs and SSOs, the detectives will work with the patrol supervisor to divert resources Throughout any incident or investigation, real-time communication is maintained among all detectives via a Teams platform so that every information is shared minute by minute, hour by hour. This communication is continued until the situation is resolved. Once the investigation is concluded, the department and schools work through social media to give parents up-to-date information on the resolutions. In addition, the department has also proactively communicated through social media and public service announcements about the seriousness of these crimes. For example, recently the department partnered with the Maricopa County Attorney's Office through its Report, Don't Repost campaign. So for parents may ask, what can they do to help? It can be a helpless feeling knowing that a school threat is occurring at their child's school. The best thing parents can do is to be aware of their children's internet usage and social media presence. There are various apps available for parents to help monitor their children's internet usage. Also, parents can also help by educating their children on the seriousness of school threats and not reposting things they see that could be perceived as a school threat or anything that promotes violence at schools. Parents can also help by engaging with their school districts and familiarizing themselves with their school's safety plans to know where to go pick up their children in the event there's a critical incident at their school. In addition, parents can immediately report any posts that are of concern to the police department. In the past, many of the incidents that were quickly resolved were because of how quickly parents helped to report suspicious posts. The Phoenix Police Department also highly recommends parents subscribe to their children's school email texting notification systems so that they receive the most up-to-date and most credible information regarding any violence or threats at school. It is important to receive first-hand information from the school or police department rather than contributing to the confusion and anxiety by reposting a social media school threat. The most important thing is to stay involved, both with your child and the school. So for our next steps during winter break, the SROs and SSOs will be working together with the tactical training detail to refresh active shooter and critical incident training. The SROs and SSOs will be challenged to critically think and plan for a large-scale incident occurring at a school and sharpen their response skills. And also we'll be continuing our social media PSAs with the Maricopa County Attorney's Office in the campaign for the Report, Don't Repost. And that concludes my presentation. I'll take any questions.
Commander, thank you very much. I'll go to my colleagues, Councilwoman O'Brien or Councilman Guardado. Do you have any questions?
I do have a couple.
Councilwoman O'Brien?
Thank you. So I appreciate the change in the schedule so that schools have coverage 5 days a week. Can you tell us what the protocol or process is when an SRO or SSO is ill or needs to take time off?
Yes, Chairman Robinson, members of subcommittee, Councilwoman O'Brien. When they do take off, they are to notify their immediate supervisor. And when the immediate supervisor is notified, if there's an ability for patrol to do extra patrol in the area, they will do so. However, there's usually only one SRO at every school. So they will be ill at that time, then it's going to be left unfilled unless there's extra patrol that can help assist.
Okay.
Oh, and they
Thank
can
you.
also, yes, hire an SSO for the day.
So the school has the ability to backfill that by hiring an SSO?
Yes. Chairman Robinson, members of the subcommittee, Councilwoman O'Brien, yes, they have the ability to hire to fill for the day.
Okay. And then it seemed like the beginning of this school year was just fraught with, or we were inundated with threats that turned out not to be real, thank heaven. But having been a former school board member, those kinds of things create havoc within your school and your school districts. Can you tell me what steps we've taken to, I know you're part of this county attorney plan, but are we doing anything else to really educate, inform parents and the students about the severity of these kinds of threats and what kind of consequences can occur to their students?
Yes, Chairman Robinson, members of subcommittee, and Councilwoman O'Brien. We continue to communicate through our Public Information Officer's Office the seriousness of these threats. This is through social media. This is through campaigns through our own department. We also participate in various town halls. Recently, there was one that was held by the school districts that we had our staff participate in, which had one-on-one conversations with students, teachers, administrators, and social workers, trying to educate them on this. And then also all the SROs through the chain of command have been advised to have daily interactions with their students to let the students know at their individual schools the seriousness of these threats. And I will let you know that in the beginning of the school year, the Violent Crimes Bureau responded to, and this is traditionally what happens at the beginning of the school year. We had over 80 such threats in the beginning of the school year for the first month, and they drop considerably as the school year goes on. So,
thank you for that. So, Commander, are you saying that this year was not abnormally high, that this is typically what happens with school threats?
Chairman Robinson, members of the subcommittee, Councilwoman O'Brien, I don't have the specific numbers for whether this year was traditionally higher. I will say from my previous job as the Violent Crimes Bureau lieutenant over the school crimes unit, that traditionally at the beginning of the school year is a spike when everybody comes back to school, and then the SROs begin educating and implementing their different educational classes that they teach, and then it begins having an impact. And we see a dramatic drop as the school year goes on.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that information. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councilwoman O'Brien. Councilwoman Guardado, do you have any questions?
No, not at this time, but thank you guys so much for all you guys do for our kiddos. As a mom of 2 young boys, we're living on very tough times, so thank you guys for everything that's being done.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. I will make one real quick comment. George Atkinson, a name no one in here will probably know, but he was the SRO at my high school. I won't tell you what years those were, but it was a while ago. And I mention that simply because we have a tendency to remember folks who had an impact on our lives. And I remember he was just a constant on our campus, and people used him for a variety of reasons. So clearly, the SRO program is it's important. The work that they're doing is critical. I like the fact that we do have the coverage, and I know this has been mentioned, but I think it's worth mentioning a second time or a third time. It's important that we're there when the kids are in school. And I know there's an opportunity on some of the school campuses for there to be an alternate schedule or a change. I'm hoping that when that does occur, that there is communication between the police department, the school, and the Department of Education, so that there are no misunderstandings if, God forbid, something were to happen on those campuses when someone's not there when we're supposed to be there, type of thing. So, Commander, you guys are doing a great job. Really appreciate the information, and thank you very much. So items 6 and 7 are for information only. Do my colleagues, either Councilwoman Guardado or O'Brien, have any questions or comments about items 6 or 7, fire staffing and response time and police recruitment, hiring, and the attrition update?
No, sir.
Okay.
Not right now.
All right, thank you. Then the last item today is a call to the public. Do we have any additional speakers? Zach, I'm looking at you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. We do have 2 individuals of the public here to speak today in person in the upper council chambers. We can start with Eric Nielsen, followed by Ann Ender.
Hello. Hi, Mr. Robinson. I noticed a quick side note before I begin. I'm assuming you're the only one here because there has to be someone here to do the meeting. And I noticed that it doesn't surprise me because the federal government does the same thing. They wait for things to be about to fall apart and then they put out a black person to keep it going. Anyway, here's what I came to say. So I've been having I've been having a crazy trouble lately, which is I'm having trouble figuring out like what's reality and when I'm dreaming. And the reason is I met Michael Jordan at Cityscape when I was 23, and I haven't slept since, as far as I know, because after that day, like reality and the dream world, they became like a constant timeline. So like I look around and I don't even know what's real anymore. And like I'll give you an example. Like a few weeks ago, I was driving in my 2004 Honda Accord, right? And and my friend's like, yo, you want to go to a street race? I'm like, let's race, baby. So I pull up to the starting line by my mom's house. It was like Tatum and Greenway. And then the car pulls up next to me and I'm racing. And vroom, vroom, people are excited, yeah. And I look over, and who do I see in the red little V12 next to me? It's Delta Williams. Delta Williams. And I've heard that she's a real good racer. She's probably a little bit better driver than I am because she has a lot more experience. And I was like, oh, no, I'm cooked. And so I look over at Delta. She looks at me. We got our helmets on. We look kind of funny. It's whatever. And then I look forward. I look up, and there's a lady who used to work for District 7. And she's got the flag, and she's like, Wraith Earth, ready, go. And we hit the gas, right? And of course, Delta's got a much nicer car than me, so she's smashing on me. We went through traffic and stuff. And but like I won the race because like the thing about being an adrenaline junkie, like being a Delta, is things don't scare you, but you learn to recognize like, oh, I'm skateboarding down this hill too fast. I better stop or I might die. So what happened is like we were racing, she was ahead of me, but like her car, the cars only go so fast. Even a slow car could be a fast car. And like Thelma Williams, real good handler, willing to go real fast. But the reason why she had problems with me in the race is because like I went to oncoming traffic during like 140, and like I just did some crazy daredevil stuff. And I think Thelda, it brought her back to reality. She's like, oh no, I'm like mayor of Phoenix, I got kids, like maybe not the best idea to die in a race accident. So long story short, I smoke her and I go to get the girl for District 7's there with the trophy, and I'm like, yay, she's gonna hand it to me. She hands it to Thelda. And I'm like, why'd she get Thelda? She said, you didn't read the rules, you gotta have racing fuel. I'm like, I can't afford racing fuel. And she said, being poor.
Okay, thank you very much. Annie Ender?
Thank you, Chairman Robinson and subcommittee members. I just wanted to ask some questions about the staffing report. First, Phoenix Police Department staffing report. First and foremost, why do we not get that presentation on a regular basis? Some of us read it, and I've had great concerns about our staffing and retention for a long time. So I just really have a few comments and questions. I was wondering if, and all due respect to the department, and Commander Joe does a great job. I'd like to understand why I'd like to know why we're having a problem with hiring and retention. So we're down to 22516, I believe. That's 1999 level. That's roughly 35 officers per shift, 15 per squad. So I'm not the only one that's really very concerned about that, because that is obviously directly affects our public safety. So I was wondering also if we could have a better understanding of the call center staffing, because I was told last week there were 175 calls on hold. Also response times, because I believe all of this is related. So the bottom line is, when you give us those numbers, who got to the academy, how many got to the academy, how many got hired, how many got sworn, how many are on the street? Because the bottom line is, there's obviously an issue. There's a failure there, and I think we've been loyal to that failure. So I think we need to understand also how do you recruit? What's the methodology to recruit those with a heart to serve? Where do they come from? Who are they? How do we get them? And why are our folks not staying? Why are we not retaining some really good folks? I think that, again, all due respect to the department, Chief Sullivan, Assistant Manager, City Manager Lori Bays, there's probably an environment problem. And my corporate experience says when these kinds of things are happening, you probably need to look at what the environment is within the organization and figure out what the needs are of the folks and how to reach them, keep them, and once again, let us know, those of us that are neighborhood leaders and citizen leaders, to how we can help with recruitment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. What I will do is I'll ask staff to, best way to do this. I'll get with staff to figure out future agenda items, as is my preference as the chair. So we'll talk about some of the things that were raised during the. Other than that, there are no other, no one else to speak. Last item today, well, that was the last item, but are there any requests for future agenda items from either Councilwoman Guardado or Councilwoman O'Brien?
Not at this time.
Okay, that being the case, thank you very much. Then the meeting is adjourned at 11:17 a.m.
Waiting for others to join.
Student athletes who played in the 2024 Men's Final Four, the weekend had to have been a thrill of a lifetime. From my present perspective, and as Jay said,